Hey everyone, it's Friday and it's time to level up your weekend. There are so many great games to play right now, and it feels like we are in the golden era for indies. The problem with that is it can feel like an endless sea of options, and choice paralysis will slowly start to set in. But don't worry, the last few years I've been swimming through that sea, and I'm going to help you laser focus down to 5. Today we've got 3 classics, 1 rising star, and 1 underdog. Whether you're new to these titles or returning for a second run, I'll break down why they are worth your time. First up, we've got Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight does not need a huge introduction. I'm sure by now you've heard about it and its critical acclaim, how it's a beautifully hand-drawn, Souls-like Metroidvania. It's part exploration, part combat, and part, how did I miss that jump 15 times? Most of the people I know who haven't played it yet or dropped it, it's mainly due to the difficulty. So if that sounds like you and you think you aren't good enough to beat the game, stop that. You are awesome, and in 2025, we practice positive self-talk. Regardless, it's no secret, this game can be hard, and it will absolutely humble you. But once you make friends with the death screen and get comfortable with that being a part of the learning process, the game really opens up and pulls you in. Now for returning players, there is multiple free DLCs that have been added to the game, additional endings, and plenty of post-game content you can try to complete. Emphasis on try. These are great ways to keep you busy while we wait for the sequel that was announced known as Silksong. That seems to be a bit of a moving target for when it'll be released, but maybe 2025 will be our lucky year. Right, Team Cherry? Please? Next up, we have Balatro, the game that took the Game Awards show by storm. It went toe-to-toe with juggernauts in the industry like Wukong, FF7, Elden Ring. When this game started picking up in popularity, I'll admit, I did not give it the time of day. I said, poker? What is this? No. Why would I put down my sword and pick up a deck of poker cards? Well, eventually I tried it, and I was very wrong. I now have bought this game 8 times and have it on like every platform. If you are on the fence and all your friends and family have tried to convince you to play, listen to the random YouTube guy and play the game. Now, for those who haven't heard of Balatro, I guess, if you were living under a rock in 2024, here's some details about this glorified solitaire game that I cannot stop playing. Balatro combines poker with roguelike mechanics and a fast-paced deck building game. Your cards are poker hands, like flushes, straights, those kind of things. And every round becomes a gamble. Each run has you facing different binds with point goals to hit, and it prepares you for the boss ante at the end of the round that gives you a debuff. Boss binds increase in difficulty as you progress, and by the end it feels like you're fighting a Dark Souls boss, but with a deck of poker cards. Along the way, you open up packs and spend gold in the shop to add additional upgraded cards to your deck, including jokers, which is where a lot of the craziness starts to come in. With these jokers, there's a lot of crazy modifiers that create synergies in your deck to make them really pop off. Want to score double points for diamonds? Or maybe in a straight, you can skip numbers and do, instead of 1, 2, 3, you can do 2, 3, 5. A lot of crazy things that helps you kind of cheat the system to get a higher score. Also, something about seeing your score get so high it literally catches on fire, it is so satisfying. For returning players, you can really test your skills by seeing how high you can climb with stakes, which are like difficulty modifiers you unlock after each successful run. Or you can take a stab at endless mode, where you keep going until the game basically crashes while it's trying to calculate the absurd numbers that are being hit. If you haven't played Balatro yet, 2025 might be the year to change that. And if you have played, I'll see you at the next rehab meeting. Next up, we've got Hades. Hades is the game that really put the roguelike genre on the map for me. The meta progression is some of the best I have ever seen. Usually when a game says dying is rewarding, they mean you like gain skill and get better at the game. And that's also the case here, but the reward is also the story. So you may catch yourself saying, sweet, I died. I wonder what new dialogue I'm gonna get from Hades and Medusa. For those who haven't played yet, in Hades, you play Zagreus, the rebellious son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld. Along the way, you'll battle Greek mythological creatures, gaining boons, which are like upgrades from the gods, and uncover family drama. It's an action roguelike, so when you die, you do start over. You get to keep what you unlock, though. Part of the real fun, though, is experimenting with the different type of weapons and their different playstyles. Weapons combined with the boons from the multiple gods let you mix and match and lets you really create your own gameplay and flow. And the art. The game looks absolutely fantastic with the hand-drawn 2D sprites. Every one of them looks absolutely fantastic. At the end of each underworld region, you face challenging bosses that really test to see if those risks you took in your build early on paid off. Or if you will die and be rewarded with some of that sweet, sweet story progression. For those returning, you can always test your skills with raising the heat levels and pact of punishments. This lets you adjust the difficulty and add more modifiers. You can also try out more of the weapons and see which ones actually mesh with your playstyle. You can max out the relationships or even prep for the full release of Hades 2. It currently is out for the first few acts that you can play, but sounds like they'll be doing the full release later this year. Next up, Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire reignited my love for card games. It showed me you can build a deck and have fun without being afraid of a ban list ruining your whole week. Thanks, Konami. Alright, let's start with the newbies who haven't played, which really should be no one, because this game is awesome. And if you haven't played it, what are you doing? Slay the Spire 2 is coming out this year and you need to go prepare. Slay the Spire is a genre-defining deck-building roguelike, where you climb a mysterious spire battling enemies with your custom-built deck of cards. You start by selecting a character, which is kind of like a class. You've got Ironclad, who's your bruiser / warrior with high damage and defense cards. You've got the Silent, who's like your stealthy assassin with poison and draw power. Then you have Defect, which is your mage with lightning orbs, dark magic, and energy manipulation. And then of course the Watcher, which is like a monk where you balance between a damage stance and a defense stance. These are massive generalizations of these 4 characters though. All of them have insane amount of depth and a very unique card pool. Part of the fun is experimenting to see which character best meshes with your playstyle. The runs are sectioned into 3 acts. As you climb, each floor adds a new challenge, rewards, and decisions that shape your strategy for the rest of the run. It's easy to start, but it's endlessly deep. There's a lot of crazy combination and synergies as well with the deck building. For example, my personal favorite is trying to whittle my deck down to like 5 cards and then just start looping through those 5 cards for infinite damage before my enemy even gets a turn. Hard to pull off and it's a little tunnel vision to get there, but it's so rewarding when you do get those big combos off. So much so that I've sunk hundreds of hours into this game on multiple platforms. For returning players, you can do daily challenge runs, try to clear all acts on all the characters, or even climb ascensions, which stack debuffs per ascension up to level 20. And this is really for the top elites, which unfortunately still isn't me yet. I'm working on it, we'll get there. As I mentioned before, Slay the Spire 2 is on its way and it's coming with a new character and more cards, so this is an excellent time to brush back up on your favorite deck builder. Next up, Ravenswatch. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this might be one that people don't know as well as some of the others on the list, so this will be the underdog pick, but for good reasons. Do you ever get that Diablo itch to blast through hordes of enemies, but don't really want to grind 30 hours of leveling and looting for your build to really come online? Well, Ravenswatch will help you scratch that itch in bite-sized play sessions. Ravenswatch is a dark, isometric roguelike action game where fairy tale characters team up to take down waves of enemies. All your favorite Disney characters are here. You've got Aladdin, Geppetto, Wukong. I don't remember that one. Regardless, it's got a bunch of fairy tale characters from a lot of different stories. And honestly, the characters are what really sell this game for me. Each character has such a unique kit, they play vastly different from each other. They have Little Red Riding Hood, for example, where she starts off as Little Red Riding Hood almost as an assassin where she throws bombs and uses her daggers, but then at nighttime, she turns into a werewolf and her whole kit changes. Pied Piper, also you get to control a swarm of rats where your whole build becomes around how can I best use music and rats to overwhelm my enemy. And then my personal favorite, who's Aladdin, where you have this wish mechanic system where you get 3 wishes that do 3 different things, and you can use them, and it's kind of like this risk reward system of, should I use these early and get ahead, or should I use them when I'm in a bind? Those are just a few examples of the characters though. In total there is 9, and they each have a special way to blast through hordes of enemies. So how it works is there's 3 acts. Each act you have 3 days, 15 minutes for in-game time is what it is. And with that time you do objectives on the map, level up, and fight a bunch of enemies along the way. And at the end of that 3rd day, you fight a boss. Rinse and repeat for each act. Inject a little bit of the fun and randomness of roguelike upgrades on your skills and items, and you've got a recipe for those late nights with friends with the phrase, okay, just one more. Now, there are plenty of other great indie games not on this list. This isn't because they didn't deserve it, it's because that would be a much longer list and a much longer video. Also, there's still a few greats that I haven't played myself, and I'm working on that in 2025. But the ones that are mentioned here are absolutely worth your time, whether it's for the first time, second time, or even the 100th time. Regardless, all these games I've mentioned today are proof that small teams with big ideas can create something truly unforgettable. So in 2025, I'd say if there's at least one game on this list that you haven't played, I would encourage you to dive in. If you stuck around to the end, hey, I appreciate you, and I hope you're having a good day. Let me know in the comments below what indie you think is a must-play in 2025. And I hope to see you around again.